And just like that, we are live. We are back, guys, for the fourth day of Kwanzaa. I know I've been having my little family. This is my family blanket, y'all. I just be having a little throat, and it's been in the picture every day this week. But we are back celebrating day 4 of Kwanzaa. Oh, guys, it is one of my most favorite principles. I love them all, though. Like they're all phenomenal, and you need them all. But tonight is Ujama, Ujama. We have Umoja, Ujima, nope, Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, and today is Ujama or Ujama. Some people say Ujama, some people say Ujama. I think it's Ujama because there's two A's at the end. And so that is cooperative economics. So we've had unity, we've had self-determination. Last night we had collective work and responsibility. And tonight is cooperative economics. So Habari Ghani, everyone. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to come in, like, comment, share. Me and the ladies are going to be sharing to our pages, our personal pages. I'm excited to have these ladies tonight. Y'all, it's all queens tonight. It's all sisters. So, because, oh my gosh, when we get together, magical things happen. Magic really happens. And so we're going to be having a conversation in a little bit. So feel free to share and come in and tell everyone hello and happy Kwanzaa. Again, Habari Ghani with the principle of the day. When someone says Habari Ghani, you say today is Ujama, and then it's what's the news, right? What's the news? So Habari Ghani, what's the news? That's what Habari Ghani is. What's up? What's the news? And so we're so excited. So I'm going to get on my phone and start sharing. I'm going to share to the pages and the other Facebook groups. You guys, you'll be meeting the ladies in a moment. We have Dawn Curling here in Jacksonville, Florida with me. Dawn is the CEO of Melanin Collaborative Group, who hosts the quarterly melanin markets and small business seminars and workshops. And she's partnered with the SBA and others. And she is the epitome of cooperative economics. She is someone I am proud to call a friend and sister. And then we have Dr. April Murdaugh, who is also here in Jacksonville, Florida. She's a financial advisor and she's phenomenal. I mean, she is a lady on the move. She has her own company. She doesn't work for anyone else. Called Woman to Woman Financial, and she has a powerful story as to why and how she came to be in that space and place. And so as we say, we talk about the principles. It's not just one, although we're talking about one. When you hear the ladies and the guests speak, you hear so many different values, so many different principles because I know Dr. April's story, and it is one definitely of self determination, and so is Don's. And so you see the other principles coming out, right? But tonight is cooperative economics. And then we have Mrs. Nairi Whitaker Roth, who is in New York. And Nairi is someone who also I consider a sister. So these are my three sisters. Nairi is with she and I both are members of Off School Grounds Coalition, OSG. OSG ain't nobody like I click. And she also serves as the president of the Black Caucus of the CSA. And say it again, Nari, because I'll say it wrong. It's
the Council for Supervisors and Administrators.
And it covers who?
All principals, assistant principals, educational administrators, retirees, and also our early childhood directors.
Thank you. She serves as the president there for it's like the union for those folks, and she serves as the president of the Black Caucus portion of the union. And so, somebody that is also epitome of the other principles and out here doing this work. And so we're going to give it a couple more minutes, maybe one more minute, it's 8:04, then we'll get started. Habari Ghani, hey, big sis, Miss Dot. Miss Dot, y'all. Miss Dot is like, she is like a GOAT on all the platforms, all things Black excellence, Black unity, collectivism. Miss Dot is on there. She's on there sharing. She's going to be on there first. She's going to be on there sharing your platform with other people. She's going to be commenting. I mean, I'm telling you, when you have women like this around you, you cannot do anything but succeed. I'm telling you, you can't do anything but win. Thank you, big sis Dot. coming in there, sharing everything, letting everybody know we're on. I'm going to share it and then I'm going to be with you as soon as I can find it. Mhm. Let's see. It's online. And there it is. Okay, now I can share it. Sharing it to these other groups. It's in the main group. If you're in any of our groups, it's in the main group. What I'm sharing it with is the other groups, the subgroups that we have. 'Cause we have too many groups. We have like region groups and state groups and type of whatever you're in group, like if you're K-12 or if you, I'm sorry, K-5, elementary, middle school, we have science, we have reading. There are a ton of Black Educators Rock groups, Don. Like the big one has 140 something thousand, but then the others might be 3,000 in the Georgia group. There might be 20, 3,500 in the Florida group. There's a New York group. Too many groups to manage.
Well, I'm trying to share it on this group that I got.
My goodness. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to have a conversation tonight, but before we get into our conversation, it is imperative that I do a better job of making sure everyone knows who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I am Dr. Melissa Noland Chester. I am the co-founder and CEO of Black Educators Rock. Black Educators Rock is so much more than a Facebook group, y'all. That's one of our sayings, Don, because I'll meet people all across the country like, oh, I'm in it. I'm a member. I'm like, yeah, you're a member of the Facebook group, but we are actually a member nonprofit. We're only $52 a year for educators. And then we have like an entrepreneur amount for $100. And then we have some other amounts for like organizations and companies that are doing this work as well. Um, we host an annual professional development conference every summer. We will be having our 10th annual Rock Conference. It's called the Rock Conference in Orlando, Florida. That is where we actually hosted our very first conference. Our inaugural conference was in Orlando, Florida. And so we're taking the 10th back home to where we started. We have 3 areas of focus: structural strategies and practices, professional knowledge, advocacy, and empowerment. And I always say this kind of stuff here, this falls up under the advocacy and empowerment because it is about making sure that we're sowing into the affective domain of educators and leaders. And so we all get a lot of PD. We all are always in class, sharpening our skill sets. You know, we have a lot of professional development, but very few PDs or organizations focus on that affective domain. So that's our advocacy and empowerment. We do self-care. We do financial empowerment. We're talking about ownership. We're talking about investing, just things that kind of cater to the whole person and not just the educator side of a leader or educator. And so, yes, 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 that is who we are. This is our 4th annual Kwanzaa celebration that we do. We bring on people every year to do the celebration. However, comma, we know that this is not just about the 7-day celebration, right? It comes after Christmas. It starts on December 26th through January 1st. It was created by Dr. Malana Karenga, um, who created Kwanzaa in order to give Black folks some grounding principles, some things to kind of unite us, to kind of center us. And so it is not religious, it is cultural, it's secular. One of the principles is faith, but it does not talk about whether it's Christian or Buddhism or Islam, whatever it is, just faith, whatever your faith is about. And so those principles, they're interconnected, right? You have 7 of them. It starts with unity, because without unity, you don't have anything. And then we said self-determination. We said collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, tomorrow is purpose. Then we have creativity, and lastly, faith. So we start with unity and faith. We have everything anchored by unity and faith, and those others are in there. And when you're talking to successful people, y'all, when you're talking to real leaders, when you're talking to people who are making impact, right? You see the principles in those people. You see that they embody those principles. And so that is what Kwanzaa is about. The celebration is about a recentering and coming back to oneself and assessing and taking a introspective look at how intentional and strategic and purposeful was I in living these principles and living these in Guzu Saba, living this in my life. And so that is what it's about. Right, that is what Kwanzaa is about. It is a 365-day journey, not just a 7-day celebration. This is just when we celebrate it, but it is something to be implemented 365 days a year. It's something that I have said that, we need to find a way. We have to find a way to make sure we're being intentional about making sure that we're focusing on the principles. And so I am proud to say I announced it, I think, on Monday, but I'm going to reiterate that I wrote a book about Kwanzaa, as well as their reflective journal that accompanies and or stands alone. So the book is called Living the Seven, Igniting the Principles in Education and Leadership. And so it goes through, Dawn, talking about the 7 principles, and it gives examples in community/leadership and education. So there are people who I've come across in the various organizations I am a part of that do this work collectively. Black Educators Rock, Off School Grounds, which is led by Dr. Dennis McKesey, who is the CEO and founder. We have, who is now a new partner, NABSE, the National Association of Black School Educators. Their president is Dr. Kimberly McLeod. Sharif El Mekki, he does the Black Male Educators Convening. And so he has, I think that's the Black Education Development, the Center for Black Education Development, CDED is the name of his organization. There's MCEL down in Florida that we have here. He does African American, male African leadership. There are so many organizations, but there are so many leaders and educators who I've come across that embody the principles. And so I wrote a book about the principles and used tangible examples about people who embody these principles and the type of impact they made by living the principle, like making it really, really tangible. And then I read there's a workbook that accompanies it and or stands alone. And with the workbook is called Living the Seven, Living a Purposeful and Intentional and Purposeful Life, I think it is. I have to pull it up. And so I'm going to pull it up in a minute. It's a journal, but what you do with the journal is you take the 7 principles and you work with each principle for 7 weeks. So that takes you 49 weeks through the year. And then the last 3 weeks, it's a reflection period. And it culminates obviously with the Kwanzaa celebration. Let me see if I can, y'all, that I want to be able to do. Let's see if it's going to let me do something. I do have it, but so I'll share it in a minute. I'll show the graphic in a minute. But before I do that, ladies, I know I told a little bit about who you are, but why don't you introduce yourselves yourself? And so, Nari, I'll start with you. Since I ended with you, I'll start with you. What else do you want the good people to know about you besides your professional career?
Well, good evening, fabulous people. I like to say that hanging with Dr. Chester, I have moved from the shadows into the spotlight. And so here I am. Here I am. And so, as Dr. Chester said to you, I am the president of the Black Caucus of CSA. CSA is the Council of Supervisors and Administrators. We are the largest union within New York State for administrators and supervisors, including principals, assistant principals, educational administrators, early childhood directors, and of course, our retirees. We are one entity of CSA in which we recognize and acknowledge the need for Black leaders to come together because we know our leadership looks different. It looks different, it feels different, and we need different type of support. And so we come together and we really embody this idea of Ujamaa with the cooperative economics. because our mission speaks to not working alone, but working together with intentionality, always doing things together. Our symbol, if you can see right behind me, is the Sankofa bird. We are very focused about looking back and lifting with us, lifting forward those that are coming up behind us. And so we invest time in a collective good. We work hard to make sure that our communities, beyond our boroughs, beyond our city, beyond our state, are being influenced and supported by us, by Black Caucus. We actually just supported our first inaugural mission to support the families and schools over in Negro, Jamaica, devastated by the Hurricane Melissa impact. So other than that, I will tell you that I live and breathe early childhood. I am an educator that has been in the business for 22 years. I am only 22, so I don't know how that works exactly. I can't math the math, right? But 22 years in this business. I am a supervisor and leader within early childhood, in which I look at schools across the city in New York. And I am here for the ride, right? Like I live for children. That is my mission. That is my goal. They are my favorite people. And so all that we can do to make sure our children are stronger and better because of us, in which I inherited from my mom, I live that every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Nairi. How many babies do you have?
I have 3 children. My son is 22 also. I'm 22, my son's 22, and I've been working for 22 years. The math don't math. I don't know. I have a 20-year-old and I also have a 10-year-old. So if you see me stressed or you see some of the white hair popping out, just know it's not you. It's whatever.
Because you know what happens? We be doing all these awesome things, and people be like, you a mama too?
Yes, and the wife and a dog owner.
A mother and wife, 3 children, only
Yes.
one at home, just a 10-year-old baby.
Yes.
Little mama, little princess, who I've had the privilege of meeting. I met all the babies. And so, yes, thank you so much for sharing. Gonna go with you next, Dr. April Murdoch. Tell us a little bit more, other than just, you can get to there. What about you being a financial advisor? What do you want the good people to know about you?
Well, thank you, first of all, Dr. Chester, for inviting me to share with the people. I consider it an honor to be able to be connected in your network. So thank you. Yeah, I own a wealth management firm in Jacksonville, Florida called Woman to Woman Financial. I'm actually the first Black woman in Northeast Florida to own her own investment firm. And that means that I am not subject to anybody. I can get Fidelity, I can get Schwab, I can get anything. I'm just not beholden to a firm. My purpose, though, initially was because I had been passionate all of my adult life about financial education. I started out doing workshops in my church. I started doing workshops in the library just for free because I was disillusioned. I'd lost everything 3 times. I've been widowed. I've been divorced. I couldn't understand why I couldn't, money was just a mess all the time. I was always struggling. And so eventually when I moved to Jacksonville, I got into the business. I started on the insurance side and kind of worked my way up. I did phenomenally well. But actually, my first stint in this business, I worked in an insurance shop and I became homeless. So I was like the female version of Pursuit of Happiness, in that I was going to sell insurance by day and I was going to the shelter in the evening. And so I did that for a while and then decided I was crazy and went and got my doctorate. I'm a single mom of 4 adult children. 3 at the time were at home, and got my doctorate, became a college professor, and started teaching logistics, which is my background, and finance, and then quit and started my own business. And so my purpose, though, is educating our community. I noticed that, not just myself, but with all of us, we're smart, we're successful, we can make the money as a people, but no one has taught us how to preserve it and how to make it grow for the next generation. We are hyper consumers. We are the fastest growing consumers in this country. and you spend the most money and set the trends. But for some reason, we are lowest on the totem pole when it comes to investing, when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to things like a basic Roth IRA. And so just knowing some of those statistics, my whole passion is to educate, empower, and encourage with no judgment. I tell people, I've messed up so many times. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you. And so I'm education first. And that's very important. So if you don't understand what you're doing, then we do not move forward. So that's kind of where I am. I've been blessed. My practice is doing very well. And yeah, things are great. I have 4 adult children and a granddaughter who is takes the place of my kids now. They don't exist. And yeah, I'm enjoying life and I'm just very blessed to be here. So thank you for having me again.
Thank you for joining us. And last and certainly not least, Dawn Curling. Yes, you're going to talk about yourself today. We're going to practice.
Hey, thank you.
Things that you've done.
I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Wait, let me preface the conversation with this one. This one right here is a whole force. She's a whole movement by herself. And it has been my job to make sure that she is comfortable articulating that, right? It's my job, So Coach Dennis, this is one of the people that I coach, because my coach on here too, Dawn.
Okay.
So
y'all need a coach.
Because everyone needs a coach.
Mm-hmm. Everybody needs a coach.
Everyone needs a coach.
For right? Real.
Really, for real. And so Miss Dawn Curling, who I have the awesome privilege of sitting on the board of the Melanin Collaborative Group, could you please tell the people a little bit about yourself and your organization and just, anything you want them to know?
Yes, ma'am. Again, like everyone else, I'm grateful for this opportunity to share space with you ladies and conversation and perspective. I am the CEO. See, that's something that I have to get comfortable with saying, that I am the CEO of the Melanin Collaborative Group. And I also own my own business. We make the shirt, print, and design. I've been in business. Okay, there's a product.
Yes. All my Kwanzaa, you guys see
cooperative economics right there. We've already started out. And so I've been in my business for about almost 25 years. I started my business as a hobby, just something to do. Was inspired by the Million Man March when they came to Washington. I think it was in 2005. And so made this suitcase full of shirts and went down, sold the shirts. The job that I had, I used to go to work and, put the little designs and rhinestones and stuff like that on shirts. And it just started by 10 by 10 booth inside a flea market for about 15 years. And the opportunity opened up for me to move into a brick and mortar on 8th Randolph Boulevard in a historic neighborhood where I'm 4th generation. So it's like ever since that time, my life has changed, especially with having a 6-year-old child. Never thought that I would be able to have kids. I had a child at the age of 44. So that was crazy, but I love them. It's a blessing. Thank God. But just my thing, being a business owner inside the Norwood Plaza Flea Market for nearly 20 years, and no resources came to this hub. This is a hub that had at least 100 businesses in it. So if you got 100 businesses in here, why is nobody from the Jack's Chamber over here? Why isn't the SBA over here trying to help these businesses with these resources if they're out there? Well, that's because they don't really community outreach. So who better than me to be the community outreach person and find those resources and bring them to the community? So I just use that to move along the melanin market. So like reaching out to people like Dr. April Murdoch. Hey, education is one of the things that help our businesses thrive, but people in the community that I came from wouldn't know Dr. April Murdoch. But because I was Leadership Jacks 2025, I'm able to introduce them to Dr. April Murdoch, and she would be able to help assist them on financial literacy. So to me, that's what it's all about. It's connecting the people to the resources.
Okay, I'm gonna stop her. You guys see, she's worse than me, Dr. Dennis, as you can see. I told her to talk about, what she's done. See how she got to the work.
Sorry, because I don't do nothing else but work. That's all I do. I don't have no personal life.
And so those of us who do the work, we feel that. But when she's in front of those funders and different people, they don't want to necessarily hear about the work. I need for her to start speaking about the fact that she has a market that she does quarterly, that they're themed, and she needs to tell you all the 4 themes of them. And she needs to tell you approximately how many businesses and how many people come into these markets on average. And so can you share that information with them, Dawn, please?
Yes, we have 4 quarterly markets. We've been doing it for 9 years. We have Black History Month, Juneteenth, Jazz on the Ave, and Black Friday. We also do a cash mob bus. It's called the Buy Black Bus Blitz, where we fill a charter bus of 55 people, and we go to 6 local businesses, Black-owned businesses, and we directly support their business. We do historical tours in between those trips, and we stop at a Black-owned restaurant and have lunch. So it's like directly impacting these businesses to the point where when we come in, they see all these people, they're scrambling all over the place, because how often do you see 50 people in one store at one time? So it's an amazing thing, a concept that we thought of it was a principle of Kwanzaa, that we would do something that would be impactful to businesses. So we celebrated it last year for 7 weeks. So that week was actually the Buy Black Bus Blitz was birthed out of Kwanzaa.
And thank you for that. And so her markets bring approximately how many businesses come and set up at the market?
About 250 on a Juneteenth, and about 150 on Black.
250 different businesses and vendors come out and set up. She has the roadways blocked off, some blocks blocked off in historic East Side, or it's called Out East. It's one of the it's the last intact Black neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida. And so she puts on these cooperative economics. She puts on these melanin markets that she started 9 years ago. Her and another young lady who is now actually one of our Angie's what? She's a
state representative.
State rep. So Angie Nixon. So they started the melanin market. They started those markets 9 years ago, and they've grown to be and hopefully we're going to be able to show some video. I want her to pull some video up on and I'll share it on Facebook. I'll go to my Facebook and share it. But it's thousands of people out of this. She failed to mention that during the time, like they're shopping, there's like talent shows going on. Like, so she has local talent. So there's singers and saxophonists and different musicians and little baby stepping. And there's always a show as well that goes on with this market. And I'm in Dawn's life to help Dawn formalize the organization a little bit better so that she can leave the work. She's in the work, so that she can go on and take this not just across the state, but across the country. To see it in action is phenomenal. I'm so thankful that our paths crossed about 3.5 years ago, and she started watching the Kwanzaa. She was on Kwanzaa last year, and she said it motivated her to start doing a lot of the stuff she's doing. But she does so much, and then she added more. So she was already doing the markets, and then she added the Buy Black Bus, right, tours. She was already doing this, and then she added that, because she is truly, again, the walking example of these principles. You heard Dr. April talk about losing it all 3 times and then building herself back up. That's self-determination. And you heard Dr. April talk about unity. So when you talk about these principles, they're not just like these arbitrary ass words. They not, right? They are truly things that some of us have chosen to live our life by. And because we do that, we make sure to be intentional and purposeful about improving the spaces in which we work, play, and serve, right? Starting with our own household, our families, you know, what if we're on the school setting, we're in the community, whatever type of job we have, guys, this is the only way that we're going to see this society change. We've been watching something unfold before our very eyes. And Tracy, who was on last night, my big sister, my Canadian sister, said something powerful last night. She said the difference between, because I think I mentioned something about the 60s and the 50s, you know, and how different we were then, our mindset and our mentality. She said because then we had an ownership, we had a sense of ownership. We don't have a sense of ownership of not even our own lives, let alone the communities and the places in which we work and play and serve. We have to move into that space of understanding that nobody's coming to save us. Ain't no Superman. It's us, right? And until we start embodying these principles, these values, because these values, they have some other subsets of values, right? They have some other ones, but if you got these major seven, I know you somebody solid to rock with. If you're somebody that's striving to be the seven, you can say, well, I got 3 of them down, I got 4 of them down. You somebody who's somebody that I should strive to be with, that I should strive to be in community with, because we're not gonna do it, y'all, without community. I read a quote last night that said, you know, doing it by yourself, like doing it alone, you just survive. But together you build empires. Mm-hmm. Right now we're doing it individually. We all just surviving. And we're not going to thrive until we understand that it takes collectivism. And again, I love these ladies that are on here because they're people who are walking this. They're not just talking it. I know for a fact that I walk it. Like I talked about the fact of me being a part of not just Black Educators Rock is mine, right? But I carry the flag for OSG, just like BER, because there's no difference in them to me. Because if I'm a part of one, if I'm a part of it, I'm really a part of it, right? And that goes back to that collective work and responsibility we talked about last night. You know, just how are you showing up to spaces, communal space? Are you just there? Because we talked about it's just not being together. It's just not a passive togetherness. It's an intentional, purposeful togetherness. It's harmonious, right? It's when I'm at the Kwanzaa celebration that Dawn put on this year. So I didn't do my first day virtual because I did real unity, and I went and supported her event and asked my sisters from South Carolina Cooperative Economics Collective Work to come down, Dr. Sheik and Dr. Tammy, and present at Dawn's inaugural face-to-face Kwanzaa celebration. That's what we did on Kwanzaa, right? That's what we did the first day, because we're living these Kwanzaa principles. We're not just talking about it. We're living them. We're being intentional about it. We're being purposeful about it. And that is what it takes, guys. It's not just a 7-day celebration. It really isn't. So much is happening with our kids. So much is happening in these houses and homes and we out in these streets. We have to understand that we are all we got, but we all we need. Yeah. We all we got, but we all we need. We've shown that to be the case before. And so hopefully, guys, we understand that we are the ones we've been waiting for, right? Yep. So let's get to it. Let's get to this work.
Dr. Chester reminds me of a quote by Grace Boggs, where she talks about the wealth of a community is not measured by what individuals accumulate, but how the community cares for its members, right? And so going back to that idea that we cannot do this alone, that we have to stray away from what society right now has as an ideology, as an individual, and get back to the collective, taking care of each other and making sure that we have interdependence, because you're right, we are not going to do anything alone. We're not going to be successful alone.
We're just going to survive. We're not going to thrive. You can only survive alone. Together we thrive. We build empires. And so, you know, if I know I say it to you ladies all the time, but I'm going to say it here publicly because we know we love to give people their flowers while they're here. Thank you for the work that you all do. Each one of you inspire me in your own way. I grow from each of you. I take lessons from each of you. I'm thankful for each of you being in my life. Dr. April and Dawn and I just finished up Leadership Jacksonville. So we were all in the Leadership Jacksonville class together. And that was definitely an experience. And you know, in true us fashion, we don't decide that we gonna make us the Leadership Jacksonville sisters. So we got the LJ class 2025, then you got the LJ sisters, right? So less need to be said as about what that is. And I see you on here, Lauren. I saw one of our LJ sisters watching. So, but the things that I've learned from these ladies, like I was telling the ladies backstage, Nari, the way I met Nari, we met at the conference and we fell in love with each other. We met at the OSG conference, the Off School Grounds Transformational Leadership Conference at Columbia University. And so I had the privilege of helping Dr. McKesey host his first conference. And I met Nari and fell in love with her. And we met and we kind of lost contact. And I kind of reached out a little while before the conference, my conference, Black Education Rock. Like, oh yeah. She was like, oh, I'm gonna come. This lady didn't just come to my conference. Simone, this lady came and bossed me around at my I had never like had that experience before. I was like, she was like, go sit down. Eat something, drink some water. Oh no, you can't answer that call right now. No, give it. No, just like, and she did it. It was so nice and soft. Though it was like,
Oh, love.
it was so soft, John. It was so disconcerting for me. But
because
like,
you always the one that's doing those things for other people. Mm-hmm. You didn't know how to even accept for somebody.
And I told her, I was like, I don't even know how to. That's right. It's a lot.
You felt bossed around.
She was mad. She was like, am I mad? Am I happy? Like, she don't know how to feel.
Look at the emotion I got right now.
My emotions all over the place, Dr. Like, I just don't know how I feel right now. But at the end, I was like, I like that. I've never had that before. Which let me be open to other people doing things like that for me. Like Dawn. So if you guys don't know, like I am not a person that celebrates me. I don't, I'm not having a birthday party. So it was close to my birthday's in October. Dawn was like, what you doing for your birthday? It was like at 2 days. I was like, oh, nothing. She's like, nothing. Okay, I'm gonna call you back. She hung up on me. Dawn called me back the next day and said, hey, I need you to be here this time, that time. Dawn put a whole Dawn and Taryn, who was another Leadership Jacksonville sister, put a whole birthday party together for me in 48 hours, in less than 48 hours. Found a venue. I mean, we don't have a party and an after party. And I had nothing planned. Right? I had girlfriends calling me out of town saying, oh, you going to have a birthday party? I didn't plan it. It just happened. And it has been a blessing to have people like that in my life. I called Dr. April. I said, Dr. April, come go with me. She said, okay, here I come. All right? Because if you know me, I go everywhere by myself. But Dr. April comes and hangs out with me. And, she just fussed at me about getting my financial life together. But I'm taking baby steps, Dr. April. It's coming. It's coming. I'm getting there. And so that's something that I want to talk about, Dr. April. I want this conversation to go right into that. You mentioned earlier, you said you lost it 3 times. You talked about us, being these very, very, very big consumers. But we have an issue with saving and or investing. And I think not enough people are honest. And I'm honest about it. I just have to figure out, how do I get past it, right? We're not honest about the upbringing we had and the relationship that our parents may have with money and how that may influence and impact the relationship that we have with money, right? Yeah. So for me, I grew up poor. My mom, listen, we didn't have a car. Right? We didn't have no central air and heat. I grew up in the projects. We had a little AC unit in the window. We pushed a buggy, a shopping cart to the laundromat. We didn't have a washer and dryer. We went to the laundromat in a buggy. And I grew up poor, right? Very, very poor. And my mom I don't think my mom got a bank account until I was a full-fledged adult, right? She didn't have to buy here, pay here. She paid everything cash. Remember we had Rent-A-Center and all those back then. She did check cash in places. And so here I am, degree after degree. I opened my first bank account when I was in college, but I've never invested money. I'm somebody who has to see my money in the bank. It took me the longest time to convert the credit cards. Like I'm swiping debit cards. People like, girl, you be getting points. Like get you some credit cards, right? So I have this weird relationship with money, needing to see my money in the bank. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think what happens is it does depend on your upbringing. So you really have to understand your money story. And I tell people when they start working with me, we craft that story. What does it look like? how did you grow up with money? How did your parents handle money? How has that impacted you? And that makes you self-aware. You really have to be self-aware before you can make any changes. You really have to be self-aware, and you have to understand what your issues are with money. Everybody has something, right? It's either they're savers and they're hoarders, or they're overspenders because they were poor. Some people just, like Dr. Chester, want to see their money in the bank because it makes them feel secure and stable. Some people are scared to pay bills because if they pay bills, they will be broke. That was me. I was too scared to pay bills. It's like, if I pay, you mean pay every bill, all of it? Oh my God, that means I'm not going to have any money, And so I would not pay all the bills. So you had late fees and, oh my gosh, yes. Because when I was coming up, my mother never paid the rent on time, and it would go by, and I lived in the projects, and it would be like 6 months later, and she'd be like, April, I need help with the rent, it's 6 months behind. But meanwhile, she had shopped and she had eaten and hung out and all the things, but the rent wasn't paid. And so that behavior was like, I guess she worked, it worked for her. So I started repeating some of that behavior. So you have to understand your money story. You have to understand where you come from financially. You cannot change behavior just by saying, okay, I'm just going to do this. And a lot of people come to me with that. They come to me saying, I need to save more. I need to save more. Well, why aren't you saving? Let's figure that out first. Like, what's the issue there? And how can we then take it and make it something that's automatic so you don't have to think about it? Because when you start thinking about it, then you may start reverting back to the behavior that you had. So I think it's very important that we understand our story first. We understand our money personality. Who are you? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you, philanderer? Do you feel like you need vacations? Is it your thing to have nice things? Do you need to have a nice car all the time? Like, what are your things? And understanding yourself is important, because it doesn't mean that you can't have nice things. You can't drive a Jag. You can't have a Porsche. It just means that you need to plan for it. It just means that you need to make sure that you have the first things first and foundation. And the reason why I entered this industry and on the investment side is because I went to an advisor not knowing anything, but knew I needed one. And, she put me in something that I can never get my money out of ever, until either I die or retire. I had no idea that I could. You never do that. And I was like, gosh, this is so ignorant. Like, why didn't I know this? Because they're not teaching it to us. In my industry, less than 1% of us are Black women, and only 2.9% of us are Black in this business. So, it's white, male, pale, and stale. And I wanted us to get the information so that we can build wealth, because we can make money. Like, we're hustlers all the
money.
Yes. Dawn said she took her t-shirts to the Million Man March and she sold a t-shirt. I mean, we creative, we can do it. But then when you get the money, what do you do next? And that's the problem that we have. So that's why I am really big on educating. Okay, understanding where you are, and then figuring out how can you get to where you need to be and where you want to be. And a lot of times we don't have the foundation down. And you cannot, I get people come to me, I want to invest in crypto. I want to invest, can I invest?
Basics before you try to get all into that, huh?
Do you have an emergency fund?
Right. Do you have those things? If something happen, you out of work right now? Like I said, that is so, I'm so glad you said that, Dr. April, right? Because I know Dr. Sheikah put in, our financial literacy, right? And so when it comes to literacy, right, understanding there are levels to literacy. Yeah. Some of us, we're financially elementary. Some of us might be middle school. Some of us might be high school. Some of us might be undergrad, graduate. Mm-hmm. Some of us elementary, trying to jump into a graduate, trying to learn crypto, right? And trying to do these things. But like you said, you don't even have an emergency fund. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, do you have money that you can pay your bills for 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. I know most people, I think it's like 78% of the U.S. population doesn't have that. It's like a high number. I can't.
Yeah, they did a study some years ago. It was like who can get $400 quickly.
When you live past the next few months, right?
Yeah.
So before we say let's jump in this stuff, because that has to be money. Because the one thing I've been taught about all that's money that you ain't counting for nothing. That's for set it and forget it, crypto, right? That ain't no money. That's the money that you can afford to lose, and it's money that you're not like, oh, I'm looking for a return on it. That should be the way that crypto investment goes. And so I think that, like you said, we have to first know our financial story. And that might be something that you might need to do. I won't even charge you for that that right there, because I do that when I do consulting. But you might come up with a financial report card for them. Let them know what level they on, and give them examples of this is considered elementary. You have your 3 months put away. You got your this. You got your retirement set up. This is considered middle school. You might just say K-12, not to make them feel too bad. This is K-12. It's high school, college, grad. I think they need a literacy report card. And
it's true. I think people, they always want to invest, right? And so I'll ask things like, are you investing in your company's 401k plan? And they look at me like deer in headlights. Or are you maxing it out? That's free money. Are you getting that? Deer in headlights. But you want to talk to me about Bitcoin, or you want to buy Amazon, and you want to buy Apple. And I'm not crapping on anybody. It's just an order. And we have to have our priorities straight. And us as a community, I find most of the folks that look like me that come to me don't have it straight. And I don't judge them.
I mean, no, we don't. We've already established we're consumers. We make the money, but we spend the money. I tell people all the time, I'd be like, it's a lot of 100,000 in Jacksonville, right? A lot of black 100,000 in black Jacksonville, in Jacksonville. However, if you make 6 figures and you spend 6 figures, you just like them on 45th and Mine Creek. Why you trying to judge? You may not like that, Don. They make the money and they spend all the money, which means you have no money. And so it's something that, again, we have to start being realistic with ourselves. And this is all around that cooperative economics. And, I know it's going to be some women that get a little upset with me, but you shouldn't be owning $1,000 purses, multiple $1,000 purses and shoes, and you ain't got that in the bank. I'm just saying. I shop at Ross. Everybody knows it. Oh, now you so girl, this Ross, dress for less. Listen, you're not gonna see me with red bottoms and this and that, and I ain't got no money in the bank.
You would be surprised. I was shocked at the purses. I couldn't believe they're like $5,000, $7,000 for a Louis Vuitton bag.
I never owned one if I had to pay that.
I was like,
because I think about $5,000 given. I don't even understand how people gamble their money. Like gamble and buying bags and shoes that cost thousands of dollars. That's just insane to me.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I have to say something for the girls that have the bags, and all the stuff. I agree that yes, we need to make sure that we have a financial plan. I also agree that it's okay to like nice things. Right? And thinking about doing that,
we got to be honest about those conversations.
But there's our story also, right? Just thinking about our story. So I am not one that can say, oh, I grew up so poor, I didn't have. I grew up in I guess somewhat of a middle class or upper middle class. I never thought of when I needed to get something like that wasn't necessarily a thought that I wouldn't get it. And for my children as well, growing up now, right? Like they don't necessarily, I just had this conversation with my son just last week, right? Like they may not understand that either because things just kind of appear. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get them also to understand the value and all that comes with that, right?
That's easy. You know how to get them to come to that, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm not.
Listen, Bill Cosby.
Also, I'm on the other end.
Show. Remember when Bill Cosby sat Theo down, he gave him the money? Mm-hmm. He would have taken the money back to child. It's a quick lesson. It don't even take long to get it to him. Take long.
But I think a lot of that
while I'm in the middle of this, y'all, this OSG, she's an OSG bully. Off School Grounds, Simone Nicholas, the Lioness, principal at School by the Sea. I see you texting me. She is on me because I said something about them purses, y'all.
I have to defend the girls with the
no. Listen,
I got one or two myself, so I can't.
But I got to be with Sheikah. Y'all be buying the people so they don't even like y'all. I swear to God, I ain't gonna say no names, but I remember when Tommy Hilfiger came out with it, Don, and he was like, I ain't make my clothes for. I remember I stopped wearing Tommy Hilfiger that day. I walk into a store and I be seeing some nice stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's Tommy Hilfiger, I can't get it. I remember having conversations with people like, I don't care what he said, I will still go wear it.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
We got to go back to the corporate economics. Now we got to be recycling these dollars back into the Black community, because if you spend $1,200 on a handbag, you need to spend $1,200 on a handbag your sister got.
Thank you. And there are Black women out here doing that.
Yes, you do it.
That's all I was trying to get
you to spend your money, because if you're gonna make the white man rich, you might as well make your sister rich too.
I don't know if y'all saw
even like us. They don't even, some of them don't even like us.
Did you see on
they clothes for me? I stopped wearing them that day, and I never picked them back up. If you don't make them for me, I'm not purchasing them. But I hear too many people saying, I'm still buying it. They ain't gonna stop me from buying it.
And then you know what else is funny? Just say, for instance, if I have an all 100% leather bag and I want $2,500 for it, and it's a nice size bag, you won't give me $2,500, but you'll go to Louis Vuitton and buy a bag this big for $1,700.
Not true.
What?
Not true. Okay.
No, but you know what that is, so Don? You know what that is,
like girls with the bag, right? Like I don't mean to double down. However, I agree. We want to make sure that our money is staying within the community, and they talk about that, from Black economics to Ash Cash to so many authors are telling us that our money goes in, it stays in our community just one time over, and then it's gone. Right? It's gone. And so how do we create something like that?
I'm tell you, I'm trying to tell you what
there are so many Black women.
Why is it that we have a problem spending with our own people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it that we have a problem?
So it may not even be that we have a problem with spending the money with our people, but again, we need to know who these people are, where they are, and what they sell, because the marketing is so good that these other people who can afford to market, and we can see it in our face all the time.
So nice, Don. That was so cute. We gonna tell the truth.
You know what I'm saying? There's some people, because I've seen
evaluation of self. If I really think that I'm the SHIT, if I really think I'm like ain't nothing better than black is beautiful. Like I said, you see people that embody that, because April, where your shirt come from?
Dawn.
Thank you. What my shirt came as soon as I did my Kwanzaa stuff? Dawn. You gonna see the shirts I've been wearing. I had on Hotel shirt on Monday. I forgot whose shirt I had on Tuesday. Then I had Black Edge Against Rock on Wednesday. I got on one of my OSG brothers who sent me a shirt on today. You're gonna be I'm gonna know that you really about that, because I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it. You're not gonna self-devaluation. If you don't think that you are phenomenal and awesome and great, then it is very hard for you to support people that look like you, right? And I know we say it's subconscious and unconscious. I'm not gonna say it's conscious that we do it. It is an unconscious and subconscious thing that we do, but we spending the money. So it ain't that we ain't got the money, because we see you spending the money. And two, we will try somebody Black, and then but we already going in half with half pessimistic as opposed to optimistic. And then as soon as something happens, that's why I don't support Black-owned businesses no more. But you don't do that to other businesses. They can get your food wrong 25 times. You're gonna still go back to a McDonald's, wherever you eat at, because hopefully you ain't eat McDonald's. But Zaxby's or wherever you eat at, right? But if it's somebody Black, that's why I don't go to Black now, because every time you support one of them, we worse than the majority of society.
We always have to work super duper harder, than the others do. Yes. So
why do we have to work super duper harder? Why?
I think it's us doing it collectively to show people how it's done, because a lot of people don't see it. They don't know that it's being done. That's just like with the cash mob bus. A lot of people didn't know, hadn't seen it, but once they did, they're like, oh my God, I need to. And I see it now more with our content, that people are really loving Black owned stuff. Like, I never knew it was there. I'm glad to know that it's there. I'll be over there. Like, constant trying to support. We just got to know where we at with the goods. And
Yeah,
yes, sometimes you do have horrible experiences at Black owned businesses. Like, people haven't, I have my own business, and I have not been the best the whole 20 something years that I've been doing the business. But as I grow, I learn. So, and if you don't tell me that I made a mistake, or if something is wrong, you leave out my business, I'll never know that you were upset. You just didn't come back. I don't know why.
You know, it's so interesting you said that, Don, because and I say it openly, Celestials outdone. You know that one. You know, they phenomenal. They, you know, we love their food. But when they first opened up, you know, we had a Black real estate brokerage, and we used to on Dunn, and we used to go there and support them a lot. And so in the beginning, it was, you know, food coming out cold, that's supposed to be hot. And to your point, we talked to them no. And we were like, hey, we still want to come back and support y'all. He and his wife was very receptive. Like, you know, thank you for letting us know that. When I say they got it, when I say that place is one of the top places, y'all, they made some oxtail egg rolls. Ain't nothing like an oxtail egg roll.
Yeah, they do make good ones.
They have some fire food, but they were receptive. And we, like I said, we told them and we let them know, and we're going to keep coming back. We're not going to stop supporting, but it is our responsibility to let you know that.
To be constructive, but you also have to be able to accept the constructive criticism that you get without saying, you know, without you getting an attitude because somebody came and told you the experience that they had at your business. Like, you know, for me, I have a different kind of customer service style, how I deal with my people, because I deal with all different types of people. But to some people, I may be offensive or whatever, but I would never know it if you don't tell me, if I'm not providing you the service that you're expecting. So don't not tell a business the experience that you had when you go there, so that they can correct it, so that they can be better. Because I'm pretty sure businesses don't want to suck. You know, they don't want to suck. They want you to support their business. So tell them, you know, in a nice way, not in a rude way. Oh, you messed up my shirt. And, you know, all of that, you know, come to them. Because once you do that, that's like they triggered. So just try to, you know, just be constructive and just accept the constructive criticism.
Okay. Well, see, one of the things that I noticed is,
I'm gonna say two comments. Dr. April, I'm coming back to you. President says, well, first Keisha says, Dr. Keisha Keys, she's a therapist. That's one of my sorors. Hey, Dr. Keisha, she's in South Carolina. We don't trust our own people because we don't trust ourselves. And then Dr. Principal Kafele said it's difficult to have the conversations about reckless consumerism without the conversation toward elevating an African-centered consciousness, which is what Kwanzaa is about. And Chris Pope, that's my that's my god brother, y'all. That's his family helped to raise me in Daytona. His mom and dad and his other brother. That's who took me to school every day. Chris says it's not just that Black people don't spend money, we spend plenty of money. The bigger issue is that we don't have a full economic ecosystem to keep that money circulating. Banks, supply chains, insurers, distributors, manufacturers, and institutions owned by us. Without those, the dollar leaves almost immediately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people want you to stop going to Walmart and Target, but we don't even have the supplies to be able to supply our own community. Like one of my friends went to Ghana, and everything that they have is from the ground, the earth. So the guy asked her, if America cut off their food supply, how would you eat? Like, because we're not gardening, we don't have anything. Like,
we talked about that the other night on Kwanzaa. I mentioned that there's melanated growers. Like, we have to start. That's again part of that collectivity, that unity, like the collective work and responsibility. It's impossible for all of us to do it all, but you gotta find the people that's doing it, and you have to learn how to trade and barter and do things. That is how we work best, right? Because there's a whole group here in Jacksonville called Melanated Growers.
So I think one of your people who are responding in your chat asked, like, so what do we do? How do we get there? Like, what is it? What is the thing that we need to do to pull in all of these things that are out there that we don't know that exist? Because one of the things I try to do is every time a business owner comes into my business, get their business information, like what type of business they have, their phone number, their email address, their website, so that we can kind of try to start to put a directory together. So when people are looking for individuals, then we could say, okay, boom, here's this book that has the Black plumbers, the contractors, the whatever, Black owned business, the toilet tissue people, whatever, toothpaste, all this stuff. We need to have a directory, whether if it's online or if it's in a
Principal
city.
Kafele, do they still have the We Buy Black? So I used to belong to an thing that Dr. Chika Kua, another one of our Black Educated Rock people, put me on to. But like, to your point, I used to buy my shampoo, my conditioner, like it's sold like it's I think it's called WeBuyBlack.com. And so I have to find out if it's still, but it's like, to your point, and to your point, that was what I tried. That's why I wanted to do Black Educators Rock. It was to be the catch-all for all things Black education. So
Yeah.
I wanted the Black authors to be here. If you're doing professional development, if you're doing these things, it wasn't ever about me trying to capitalize off of it, but to be a place and space where if I know I'm looking for a certain thing that's about Black children, Black education, then I could come to this space. But
So
the
if
Buy
we can-
Black, like I said, I think it, and Principal Cavell said it does still exist. I think it's like a membership kind of subscription thing. But I know that they do have a lot of, like you said, like stuff that you can get there. But when it comes to the ecosystem, Chris, you're right about it. But that's why we still have to be intentional about just making sure we're supporting just as the little bit that we can, because we don't have the manufacturing. We don't own the banks, even though we do have a couple of Black credit unions. I don't know what their support is like, but we do have a couple of Black owned credit unions. I think they're virtual, but I know there are a couple that are owned.
Yeah, there's a bank, I think out west, that's owned by a Black man. I just finished doing, I have a client that I set up an annuity for, and I didn't know if y'all know, but Magic Johnson owns an insurance company. And it's one of the top rated insurance companies in the country. He's the owner. And so now I'm purposely putting my clients in those annuity and insurance products that are a good fit for them, because they're owned by a Black man. So I think I think someone said here, you have to be intentional about where you want to spend your money. But even if there is no ecosystem, and like Nari was saying, yes, I believe in nice things. You should have nice things. You work hard, you bust your butt, you treat yourself to a gift. I'm totally not against that at all. But then when I do something like that, it's like, okay, how can I be an owner? So I look at the company and decide, okay, can I invest in it? Is it on the market? Can I buy some of the stock? If I can, then I am earning the benefits of other people plus myself spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on their products. So I'm not saying it's all bad. I do think it has an order. And one of the other things I was thinking was going back to, we have not too long ago come out of slavery. Actually, this generation is the fastest growing first generation millionaires of Black people. This right here. So before this, who was a millionaire that was teaching us how to save, invest, and spend our money? We didn't have that. This is the first big generation. But the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and the Rothschild, they go back 10 generations of millionaires and billionaires. So that's why they know. So that's why these conversations and what Dawn does is important, is being intentional about keeping the money in the Black community, being intentional about getting the financial literacy that you need so that your generation coming behind you can be like the Kennedys and the Rothschilds and the Clintons or whoever Trumps and whoever you want to name, because we have taught them. And so in teaching them, because we have this, we've just come out of slavery and we're first generation, it's like, oh my God, I made it. So I gotta get this, and I gotta look this, and I gotta live in this house, and I gotta drive this car. We're thinking about the moment and not about the future.
But I think I don't even think it's that, Dr. April. I think it goes back to what we've been talking about earlier this week, the rugged individualism. And why I say that is because you just talked about, we go like every other culture except us. I mean, even other Black people like Haitians and Jamaicans, all of them will live together in a house. They believe in collective work and responsibility and cooperative economics. They'll have 3 generations and then everybody going to work. Everybody getting up in the morning, going to work and earning money, and everybody saving money to be able, and they'll all save their money so they all can go out and get their own houses.
That's true.
We'll turn 18 and be talking about it's time for a child to go.
Yeah.
Right? We adopt certain mindsets and don't realize, again, they're contrary to our thriving. They're contrary to it. They're just about survival. I talked about it the other 3 nights. I will mention it again tonight. Dr. Sheikah, this is me and Dr. Sheikah thing. Dr. Sheikah fell in love with me because Dr. Sheikah, she and Dr. Tammy, who came to my 2019 conference in North Carolina, she said they were colonized Principles of Kwanzaa until they came to that conference. And that's when they realized that like we were drinking the same thing. We were colonized. So, so what happens is we're moving towards rugged individualism. Everything that we do is towards rugged individualism. When you look at your DNA makeup, we're more about collectivism. Like there's a chart that Dr. Sheikah and Dr. Tammy talk about in their research when they're doing their presentations, and it's individualism, collectivism, and it talks about where you come from, the region of the world you come from. When you're looking at like Nigeria and the different African continents, those are all going towards like the closer you are to 0, the higher the collectivism. So we're like they're like in the 20s. The higher you are to 100, the more you are individual. Like the United States, like 92. And so we move in this place of rugged individualism, which is actually contrary to who we are as people, innately and organically. Like, there's a joke about, why are they all at the same table or whatever it is. But we know that happens like naturally. We in leadership, Jessica, we were always so intentional, like, y'all, we can't always sit together because we naturally migrate to each other. It's a natural thing that happens, right? And we have to be intentional not to do it, right? And so I think a lot of us are living outside of who we really are. And again, Kwanzaa, because that's what this is about, this celebration of Kwanzaa principle, right? Understand that Kwanzaa was about those grounding principles, giving us some 7 grounding principles that we can look to know that if we're intentionally and purposely living these principles, we're doing something right in the world. We're making positive impact. We're entering spaces and places and making them better by our presence. You should not be entering places and not improving them. Many of us come into spaces looking to withdraw. And I said it last night. I'm someone who has always been one that's always looking to come add value. But because I add, I've always received a lot back. It has never failed. And I just that people will understand that. It's a gift because when I give, I get.
Yeah.
And we have to get to that.
Right? Thinking about the principle, right? And I'm thinking about our organization here as well, and everything that the ladies are saying, I'm in total agreement. And so we're thinking about moving the conversation from just a conversation into more of a collective action, right? For one of the things that we try to do very intentionally with Black Caucus is support Black-owned businesses by showcasing them, by doing business with them, by making sure that they are visible, that they are seen, making sure that we are starting or supporting their initiatives. We have people that are just starting out with certain careers like DJs. We have them showcase. We have them performing at our events. We have, this is something that we are committed to. We're being very intentional. And I'm thinking that this is the piece that is missing is if each of us is doing this separately in silos, right? And I heard someone mention earlier about having some kind of collective document in which we would be able to refer to say, okay, yes, I need a banker, I need a real estate agent, I need a baker, right? Like, how do I get in touch with these folks? So maybe it is something like creating almost like a, we used to have the white pages, maybe it's the black pages, right, that we are creating, in which
they had that in New York. That's what they had. No, they had one in New York and in South Carolina, where I was from, where I live.
we had the white pages, the yellow pages, right?
Listen, no, listen to this. I got to read this one. We missed
Oh,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know they exist.
Yes.
It says
So
it was
maybe
because it was an ecosystem, not just a place. Today, we don't have to be limited by zip codes. The internet lets us build a digital version of that. Think of it like digital real estate, shared platforms, shared capital, and Black-owned businesses supporting each other across cities and states.
Yeah, it has to be intentional. Someone on your one of your comments has said the word intentional. We have to be intentional with the whole cooperative economics. We have to say, and I have had people go on Google and say, I want a Black financial advisor. And my biggest client came from Google, a doctor. She said, I only wanted to work with a Black woman.
Being intentional.
And so she was intentional. And everything we do together, when I refer partners and everything, they have to be Black for her. She doesn't want anything else. And I think that's the key, is intentionality and making sure that everything that we do, or as much as we possibly can, we do it within our communities. I'm guilty of it too. I like, what's the place? Bath and Body Works. But then when I go to Dawn's Melanin Markets, I see all these soaps and stuff, and I'm buying them. It needs to be intentional. Well, what hair care products? What clothing? What banks? What credit? Where can I put my money?
Right. And we know it's impossible to do all of it, like Don said, because we have, we don't, but we can be intentional and say, 10% or a certain portion of my money a month, or you can be intentional about doing it. I know I do it to do, like you said, Black-owned businesses, Black-owned restaurants. Like, I'm always trying to be intentional about that. And because that's my big brother, and I want to make sure, I'm okay with checking myself. Principal Kafele, big brother. Kafele said, when I said about the mentality like of the Haitians, and he said, keep in mind that each of the various Black cultures you named have had different historical experiences with our former slave master, which impacts us differently today. So, that he's saying theirs is different from us because of our experience. We still deal with Stockholm syndrome, I guess. We got a lot of Stockholm. So, but we got it. We got to get beyond it. I felt like it was somebody else's thingy that I wanted to say, but I think that's it. I think that was some of the statements in the chat, but I love what Chris said about we have to be intentional. Like I said, I know that was always my goal in education, was to be that catch-all, but of course we had to pivot in this new climate. And so what we're just trying to do is just make sure we all support each other, right? Holding each other up as much as we can as it relates to these Black educational organizations, because there are a ton of us. And even just being intentional about that, supporting one another, each other's products and services, etc. That is something that we have to be intentional about. We just have to be. But being intentional about that, we also have to know the rules and regulations, right? I've seen a couple of Black educational leaders, like superintendents, get in trouble for things across the country. Things that their white counterparts did the same thing, but because they did it, there was an issue. But just making sure that we understand whatever the rules are, the laws are, as it relates to when we're supporting and serving each other, when we're working on that cooperative economics, is important as well. Keep us. That's in education. We have that issue, right? But yeah, so hopefully, thing that we're taking away tonight is the intentionality, the purposefulness of this. Let me see something. So can y'all see my screen, Dawn? Yep. So this is an excerpt, this is an excerpt from my journal when I said about the living the 7. So you see it says a 52-week reflection journal for purposeful living, leadership, and legacy. And so it's going to is going to take each one of those principles, and it's going to do it for 7 weeks. Like each week it has there's a guiding thought, there's an affirmation, it asks you certain questions to make you be intentional. And so you're taking each principle for 7 weeks. And so again, for that intentionality. So it'll be out in 26. I'm trying to get the cover worked up and the formatting and all of that stuff. And so I'm excited about that. I'm really, really excited.
That is good. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Your name on the front of the book there.
Yes,
I've done some co-author stuff, but this is my first by myself one since my dissertation and my article, academic article. So I'm excited.
Great job.
Yeah.
So that's and there are 3 additions to the journal. Principal Fele knows this, Dr. McKesey knows, a couple other people. There are 3 additions to the journal. There's a reflection journal, so that's just like for everyday people. There's a leadership reflection journal, so it says a personal reflection journal, a leadership reflection journal, and then there's a group study and PLC journal for the facilitator. So use study clubs, PLCs, which are professional learning communities in different spaces and places. And so we have all your needs covered. That's the journal. The journal is a reflection journal. The book, again, talks about the principles, their origin, etc. It talks about them, and then it gives examples of leaders, educators, leaders, community impactors, people who are doing this and how they're exemplifying and embodying that principle that's being discussed. And so, yay, the book and the journal, you can get them a company or it's a standalone. It's up to you. So, yay, I'm excited.
So when you think you're going to be ready to launch?
I'm waiting on my people to get my stuff. I was trying to have it ready for now. So he told me he's working on one, and I'm finishing up the stories, because for the stories, I want to get like my people who I've chosen, they just got to say yes, like this is accurate, because I don't want to tell their stories and not be. So that's the book. But the journal was supposed to be released this week. So he's working on it. I'm trying to see if I can get it back.
So hopefully you'll have it ready by February 28th when we have the black.
I will have it by then. I will be at
Get you a table, girl, and get out there and sell some of those spots.
My books out there autographed.
That's right.
Cooperative economics, yes.
That's it.
Collective work and responsibility. Yes, yes. Listen, you guys have been so good tonight. I love talking to Black women. I love Black women. Not all Black women don't love me, but I love all Black women. Right? And again, one day we're gonna do a whole show about the brokenness of us.
The sisterhood, the brokenness of the sisterhood.
Brokenness of the sisterhood. Because when we hear that, Nari, you know what happened? We say the whole world.
Yeah.
The whole world will say
the families come back together.
That's right.
Maybe that's it. So we're gonna get there. But in this moment, I just want y'all to know how much I love each and every one of you and appreciate you. Sharing. I got my financial advisor who investment, wealth management. Put some respect on it. Not just financial advisor, wealth management. She can get the investment. She can get the fidelity. She's a broker for all of them, just like anybody else. She'll put her information in the chat. Why don't you, Dr. Murdoch?
I sure will.
Dawn Curling over here. We make the shirt. She's made me a ton of shirts. I got to pick up 2 now. She made my Kwanzaa shirt. She's made me a ton of shirts. She made everybody loves my United Negro College Fund. I got me one that says a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And she did it in this funky gold. It's hot. It's a hot shirt. But she does my shirts as well. So I use her. She doesn't just do shirts. She does banners. She does backpacks. She does it all. So if you're local in Jacksonville, Florida, we make the shirt. Do you take out of town orders as well?
I definitely do. You can shop on our website at WeMakeTheShirt.com.
WeMakeTheShirt.com. And her nonprofit world, she around here helping save businesses. She gives out small awards. She gives out small what do we call it? Grants at the Melody Market to the small businesses. LISC Jacksonville has been able to support the Melody Market so that some Melody Market can support small business, because again, it's cooperative economics and collective work and responsibilities. And I just appreciate you, Dawn, the queen that you are. And then we have the president of the Black Caucus of the CSA in New York, and my OSG sister. Off School Grounds, y'all. Off School Grounds is a whole nother thing. It's this thing that I stumbled upon, thanks to Dr. Philip Hickman, who was a member of Black Educators Rock. He was over there in that space. He was like, "Dog, you gotta come check this out. Like, they different over here." I went over there, Dawn. I said, "My people." A lot for some people in the South. Baby, the North, I fit right in. Because they rough, I'm rough. They loud, I'm loud. They animated, I'm animated.
Yes.
Nobody offended. It's everything. And so our school grounds is like my second family, right? That's my second home. And so Nairi comes from off school grounds, and it's a whole bunch of leaders and superintendents, principals, entrepreneurs, rap stars, all type of people that are in OSG who are about the business of making sure that our kids get what they need. We Dr. McKeesey and I host a weekly meetup called the Meetup for Leaders. Every Thursday, we'll be making sure that we put that information in the chat as well. So we're doing a leadership talk every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be starting back next week in January, and it runs all year long. Dr. Chika and Dr. Tammy do a show on Saturday for aspiring for leaders. Principal Kafele does an assistant principal leadership that he's been doing for almost 300 Saturdays straight. I don't know how the man does it. I don't know. With speaking all across the country, I don't, and international. He has a show that comes on AP at 11 a.m. on Saturdays. It's people out here that's really doing this work, y'all. We doing this work collectively. We're supporting one another. Oh, Sean Hurt, Principal Sean Hurt has a show. He talks about math, gains in math and reading. If you're a leader and you're on here and you need somebody to help you get your scores up, it's Principal Sean Hurt out of Michigan. He's as well. There are so many people doing this work. To Chris's point, to Don's point, and some other people's points, we just got to figure out how we do it more intentionally and strategically and purposely together. We got to evaporate some of the silos and get these ecosystems where they're moving fluidly. And so with that, I want to give you ladies last words. And so we'll start with you, Dr. April, and then we'll go to you, Nairi, and then you, Don.
Well, no, I think everything has been said. You know, this conversation actually sparked something in me as well. You know, I think the word intentionality is just so important. And now I am committed to being more intentional about where my dollars go, who I support, and yeah, trying to get out there more, especially with Dawn, because what Dawn does is so important in our community. And I love being around it. I love seeing the empowerment. I love seeing the business owners. And so I think intentionality is important. And I think, you know, dealing with whatever money trauma, I still deal with mine, what, you know, your story, the things you've dealt with. I think dealing with that and becoming self-aware is very important. So I definitely would encourage anyone to attack that if they want to start somewhere. And that's really all I have. Thank you so much again. This was a really good conversation. It definitely sparked something in me for sure.
Thank you, Dr. April. Don't forget to put your information in the chat.
I'm trying to, but it won't let me. It said this comment failed to post to Black Educators Rock. So I'm not sure.
You do it. Okay, after you put in the private chat, I will copy and paste it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. And then so Don, no, not Don, Nairi.
So for Black Caucus, we're going to make a commitment. For Ujamaa, it calls us to move from conversation to collective action. So as a caucus, we will continue to affirm that leadership is strongest when it is shared, that our impact is greatest when it's collective, and our legacy is secured when we invest in one another. In my shameless plug, on Juneteenth 2026, we will be having our legendary luncheon in which we will award scholarships to students on their way to college, along with a scholarship for leaders that are going back to school for their master's or their doctorate as well. Hit us up, the bccsa.org. Thank you so much, Dr. Chester.
Thank you, Nairi. Don't forget to put your information in the chat as well. If you put in the private chat, I will copy and paste. Don, you got a order too in the chat. So yeah, you know,
all
people
right, thank you.
You ain't gonna just say it; they gonna make it happen.
That's right, make it happen. Make a couple of more of them happen too. Now, okay.
So it is your turn to say whatever you would like to say.
Well, again, thank you for this platform. Greatly appreciate the invitation, and I will continue to create safe, affirming spaces for African American business owners to be able to sell and network their products. I will continue encouraging collaboration instead of competition, and I will also allow vendors to cross promote each other's businesses more, like the doctor who works with Dr. Murdoch. We need to know what kind of doctor she is so that we can start to share out what she does so that she can be able to continue to support your business and keep them black dollars circulating.
Yep.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. And so tomorrow night is purpose. Two of my so the third person, I'm not going to say their name because they may have to back out, but I have Corey Boucher Fuller. Corey is someone who if you don't know, he's a former NFL player, but he went to Florida State. Big personality. He's a football coach now, so he'll be on tomorrow talking about purpose, talking about his life, and then we'll also have Dr. Angie. Corey's in Tallahassee still. He went to Florida State. He went away, played football for some different teams, but he's married. He's coaching at Florida State High, I believe it is. So he'll be on tomorrow with me. There's Dr. Angie Barfield. Dr. Angie is in Fresno, California. I had to stop putting her in LA with Ross. She's in Fresno, California, and she has her own organization, the Black BCSA, Black Student Association, Black California Student Association, BCSA. And so she's gonna come on tomorrow and talk about purpose. Dr. Barfield is somebody that I met a few years ago, and I knew her before she was Dr. Barfield. She was another one. Her Dr. Sheikah, Dr. Tam, I saw them just snatching up them doctors, right? She's gonna come on and talk about her purpose and what she does with her organization, and because we're gonna kind of have a slight shift tomorrow in the conversation. So the last three principles are purpose, creativity, and faith. So Principal Kafele will be on Kaumba, which is creativity, and Imani, which is faith. And then tomorrow is Nia, which is purpose. And that's Dr. Barfield and Corey. And now the third person, I got to confirm that they're still going to show. But we will definitely be on tomorrow having this conversation. Hopefully you got something out of tonight's conversation. Again, the principles are not about simply celebrating them and then putting them back in the closet, lighting your candles and putting your kinara and your decorations up. It really is about an intentional and purposeful living in order to see the change that we want to see, right? We have to be that change that we want to see because we have to take back that ownership of our communities, our schools, our families, and our businesses. So we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. So again, Habari Ghani, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.